Kia ora, Ekant here again. Another night shoot. As you can see, I've scoped out a new spot to take some photos from up here in the Port Hills. Except the spot that I've scoped out is at the top of this ridge. I don't know if you can see it behind me. And it's going to be a bit of a hike up. Not too far, it's only about 500 meters or a kilometer or something like that. But when you're carrying all your gear and you're as fat as I am, it's going to be a little bit of an effort. It's just about twilight and I can start to see the stars coming out. There's a couple of shots I want to get tonight. One is a time lapse. I want to try and capture the a time lapse of the Milky Way kind of moving across the sky and coming into focus over the Pacific Ocean. And the other one is a nice alignment. We're going to be at a point here where we can hopefully see the Littleton Harbour open up into the Pacific Ocean. So we've got the headland on either side, and I want to try and get the Milky Way right in between those two heads. Now again, I could Photoshop all this. I could take a random picture of the Milky Way, take a picture of the headland at any time during the day and stick it all together. But I mean, part of the fun of me doing this is to try and find the times and the spaces that it all links up together. So let me hike to the top of this, carrying all my gear, and I'll talk to you in a little bit. All right, so I made it up to the spot I wanted to be at. I'm not convinced I've found the best or the quickest way to get up to this spot, but I'm here anyway. I'm up at the top up here. Let me just swap my hands around. I'm at a little ridge line here, up in Littleton Harbour. Ports of Littleton are down there, down that cliff. I'm sailing well away from the cliff edge. Don't ever be stupid. There's Diamond Harbour there, Governor's Bay there. You can see the sun setting out to the west that way. And I'm going to be facing this way. There's a little boat heading out to the Pacific Ocean there. You can't really see much in movie mode at the moment, but the Pacific Ocean's out there. And the Milky Way is kind of at this angle here. Hopefully by an hour it's going to be about there. So I want to hopefully get a time lapse with it just moving across the sky. So I'm going to set up my A6000 here for a time lapse, and then I'm going to try and take advantage of the twilight that's just about to leave us now and try and get some foreground shots. And then when the alignment happens with the Milky Way, put it together with a nice Milky Way kind of pointing out that way, but more aligned that way in about an hour's time. All right, let's see how this works. The temperature's really started to drop now. It's down to about 1 or 2 degrees Celsius, I think my phone says. It's still not so cold that I'm trying to get worried, but what it is doing is causing a little bit of mist over the foreground. And it's a little bit hazier than I wanted, but it's just what you have to work with when you've got a scene like this. The sky above me is still beautifully clear, but that water is causing a little bit of haziness, and I'll have to see what I can do with that when I get to the computer. I've taken a few test shots of the foreground, and I was thinking of using the twilight to try and illuminate the foreground a bit more, but I haven't really needed that. There's still quite a lot of light pollution from Littleton Port behind me, and so that's lighting up the foreground quite nicely. But what that light pollution is also meaning is that if I'm going to use a really wide-angle lens to get all of the Milky Way all in one shot, it's going to just blow out the highlights, especially in the foreground. So I'm going to have to find a way that I can compensate for the light pollution that's going to be below me and behind me, lighting up the foreground, as well as trying to capture those stars in front of me and above me. And so rather than use a wide-angle lens, I'm going to go with my 55mm crop. So when you use a wide-angle lens, it's going to pick up all the light pollution all around you. With a crop, with a much tighter focal length, like a 55mm in this case, it'll just focus on the specific areas you want to take shots of. The problem with that, though, is that you're not going to get the whole scene. So I'm going to do a panorama and try and pick up different parts of the shot and then stitch it all in together at the end. So what I'm probably going to do is maybe take 12, maybe 18 shots, some of the foreground and then the rest of the Milky Way as it aligns above the water there, and put it all together in the computer. Let's see how it goes. We're still about 20 minutes, half an hour away from that alignment, so my little camera is clicking away trying to get a time lapse. I've probably gone and left the lens cap on, and so it's not going to pick up anything, but hopefully that'll pick up something nice. Otherwise I'm going to chill out for a bit, wait for that alignment to happen, and then start taking my panorama shots. All right, talk to you soon. All right, so the Milky Way is getting to where it needs to be, and it's coming into alignment slowly. Unfortunately, what's coming faster than the Milky Way and the galactic core there is the wind and the mist, and it's actually starting to get a little thicker along the ground level. And although I probably would be fine all the way up here, with the wind picking up, with the temperature dropping even more, and the mist starting to get a little thicker along the hills up here, I think I might call it a night. I've got a few shots. It's not the perfect alignment that I was looking for, but I think there's something salvageable there from the evening. My wife always says before I go out that I should make good choices, so I think the good choice right now is to get into somewhere warm, a little bit safer. So I'm just going to walk down the hill, take a look at the footage that I've got when I get back to the computer, and see if there's anything I can salvage from tonight. So, things to keep in mind from a shoot like this: plan it ahead, see if you can get the composition you want, try and take some panorama shots with a tighter focal length, like I'm using my 55mm, rather than trying to capture it all in one shot. That way you can eliminate a little bit of that bleeding light from the sides. If you've got light pollution around you, obviously the best way to get astro shots is to be a completely dark place. Not always possible, so try and take a little bit tighter focal length to try and get that. And then be safe. And right now, not feeling as safe as I should be. So I'll say ka kite anō, and I'll see you next time.